Yo, what up, Eusebius here, back at it again with another video, and I am what the medical field would call psychotic. That does not mean I'm dangerous, that does not mean I'm violent, but it does mean I exist in a state known as psychosis. What is psychosis? Well, glad you asked. Me, thank you, me. Look at me, talking to myself. But psychosis is a state of mind where one is disconnected from reality. Put simply, I experience things and at times believe things that are not attached to reality. So when I say perceive things, I mean I see and hear things that don't exist. I feel things that aren't there, and I believe certain things that aren't necessarily true. If you want an example of me believing things that aren't necessarily true, it was I was eating lunch one day with my friends, and then all of a sudden I have this weird anxiety in the back of my head. It's like, do I have toes? Nah, I have toes. Wait, I don't have toes. Holy shit, I don't have toes. And I started freaking out, and I started going through people's bags and making a ruckus, and my friends were like, what the hell is wrong with you? Get the fuck off my bag. And I was like, I need to find my toes. So they sent me to the counselor's office, and yeah, a false belief, a belief that is not based in reality, is known as a delusion, and it is an aspect of psychosis. So now with that little explanation out of the way, let me get straight into the art, because this series is Art of the Mentally Ill, where I go through art that I make based upon certain feelings and events and whatever surrounding my condition. So this is Art of the Mentally Ill. We're going to be looking into another art, and this is what it is. I like to call this drawing dystonia. Now, something you need to know about being a psychotic person. You are learning to manage your condition through the use of therapy and medication. Medication being mainly antipsychotics. So, what is an antipsychotic? Well, an antipsychotic is a drug that blocks a certain neurotransmitter in your brain that causes your brain to start perceiving things, hearing things, seeing things, experiencing things, believing things that aren't real, that aren't based in reality. That is a car passing by. I'm sorry about that. I don't even know if you can hear it. But anyway, essentially, at the end of the day, antipsychotics block a chemical in your brain, and that chemical is what causes you to experience things that aren't real, believe things that aren't real. But there are some bad side effects to it, and that is where I got the name Dystonia. So this has to be the absolute most painful thing in my entire life, and I had 2 herniated discs. So when you're taking antipsychotics, you really need to be careful about the dosages, because when it comes to taking any sort of psychiatric medication, there are side effects, and a big side effect of antipsychotics are known as dyskinesia, dystonia. They go by many names. Acute, but the one in particular I'm talking about today is acute dystonic reaction. There's also a tardive dyskinesia, and there's akathisia, which in broad terms that describe each of them is involuntary muscle movements. So that's just a little bit of information for you to understand what I'm coming at. This is a photo of a mouth, or a drawing of a mouth. A mouth that I wanted to I knocked the mic. A mouth that I wanted to portray what it felt like to have an acute dystonic reaction. So, what is it like? Well, it's the most painful thing I've ever fucking had in my entire life, if I could have the chance, I would have said, fuck Geodon, the medication I'm on. In the very beginning, I was already like, fuck Geodon, I hate it, it makes me feel horrible, it puts me to sleep, I'm tired, like I slept no hours for the past week, and I have to take it twice a day? Why the fuck do I have to take it twice a day? It's a shit drug! Yeah, I just have a lot of pent-up anger around Geodon. I hate Geodon. But anyway, we were going up on my Geodon. We were going up on it, and it was, my hallucinations were getting to the point where I was actively shaken during classes and such. I remember we really went up on my antipsychotic because I was hallucinating an aborted baby who would lie down on my textbook or on my desk while I'm in class and would just try to talk to me, but her jaw was broken and her arms were torn up, and it's just, I threw up. Honestly, I threw up. I remember I just stood up and I was like, hey, mister, I gotta use the bathroom real quick. It was the middle of a lecture, and I was like, mister, I gotta go. So I just said that and I bolted out of there. I barely made it to the toilet, but the sounds it was making, ugh, just thinking about it. It's odd, very odd. And when people start staring at you because they heard that you did something weird, it gets a bit sad. But I don't even know where I was going with that. Where was I to begin with? Anyway, so my condition was getting a bit worse, and we went up on my antipsychotic, which was Geodon, and that caused me to have an acute dystonic reaction. So what is an acute dystonic reaction? Well, I'm glad you asked, Eusebius. Hello, talking to yourself again. So an acute dystonic reaction is when those involuntary muscle movements are taken to the next level. So I remember the day I took my Geodon and I thought it was fine, but then while I was waiting to be picked up from school, I get this weird tingly feeling in my mouth. And it's nothing bad. It's just, a little bit of pins and needles in my jaw. I don't know when my jaw's asleep, but for some reason it's asleep, but it's fine, it's whatever. I get home, I try to go to sleep, but my body does not let me go to sleep. Because all of a sudden, I feel this rush of intense pain. Imagine somebody has one hand on the top of your mouth, the other hand on the bottom, like the top jaw, bottom jaw, and they're just pulling it apart. You know the scene of King Kong where he's fighting the T-Rexes and he tears their mouth apart? That's what it fucking feels like. So I'm just over here and I'm like, this is weird. So I go downstairs, I tell my parents, and I'm like, ha ha ha. And they're like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like, ha ha ha, because I couldn't close my mouth. So even my tongue didn't work. I couldn't even feel my tongue. And that was the worst fucking pain I've ever been in my entire life. So that is why I made a drawing about it. This over here, I wanted to symbolize as force pulling up on your mouth and then force pulling down on your mouth. I just put sharp teeth because my teeth felt like they were fucking daggers, as as my muscles contracted and slammed my mouth together, then tore it open, then slammed it back together, then tore it back open, then slammed it. It felt like my teeth were goddamn razors and my tongue was non-existent. It felt like the worst pain I've ever been in. And I've been in a lot of pain. I've broken bones, I've had scoliosis, I've had herniated discs, I've had multiple concussions, I tore my eyelid in half, and nothing compares to the pain of an acute dystonic reaction. And that is what I wanted to portray in this drawing. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I know I rambled a lot along this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you are in an emergency, I always have emergency contacts below. If you need any help and you want to talk to me personally, you can always DM me. My Instagram and Twitter is on the description below. And don't forget to subscribe. I notice a lot more people are watching my videos, and I really think that you guys should subscribe, because that is a good thing to do. All I want to do on this channel is to spread awareness and spread education about what it's like to have a psychotic mental disorder. So with that being said, I hope you all have a great day or night, wherever you are. Stay safe, and I shall see you later. Ahui ho malama pono.